Hello, welcome back to a Spiritual Ascension, my own journey, ascension journey. Um, if you're just coming into these episodes now, I recommend going back to the very first episode, which is episode one. It's called the intro, as I'm telling my entire 5-year story and kind of what happened before and what has happened since then. So when I left off in the last one, that one was called the mental part of it, that you're going to be mentally challenged throughout this journey. Now, talking about the emotional part of it. So if you've been following along, you know that there was this young, I shouldn't say young, younger than me, um, guy that had helped me, a friend of mine that had helped me from the time I had left New Jersey up until now. And even during the time that he provided places for me to stay when I first got to New York, and then continued to always be there for me when I stayed with this woman, Susan. So he was in Brooklyn, and even though Brooklyn and Queens are kind of by each other, they're still a ways away from each other. I think it was maybe a 25 minute ride drive for him to like take a Uber to come to where I was. And, of course, the Uber is kind of expensive, to take it that far. So I wasn't seeing him as much, but we were still talking. Um, this is early September when I first arrived here at this place in Queens and just trying to get my footing, stability. Like this is the first place that I can kind of call my own for right now and um, kind of get back on my feet. So during September, he came to see me one time, um, I believe. I'm not sure if it's one or two times he came. I'm not sure. I think at least one time he came. And then, I don't know, something happened one week and so forth. But I felt a more of a pulling away with him. And um, I had grown attached to him because he had been with me for all these months. He, especially when I was in Brooklyn, it was closer for him to come see me. And we spent a lot of time together. And um, now that I was in Queens, I felt like there was this kind of a little bit of a pulling away. I had ordered, when I had ordered the bed, I was able to put that together by myself. It was just like the frame and the mattress. And I had ordered this dresser. Was it a dresser? A desk? No, a desk. I'm sorry, a desk. And then a chair, like a swivel chair for like office chair. And I knew I wasn't going to be able to put them together by myself. And I had said to him, I said, can you come? Now we're going towards the end of September. Can you come and put them together for me one day? The end of September, he was supposed to come, I don't know, on a Friday night or something, and he didn't show up. I think he said something like, it was raining really hard. So a lot of times what Uber does is they'll jack up the prices when um, it's bad weather because they know a lot of people are trying to get Uber services at that time. So it was like outrageous amount of money. So I said, don't worry about it. He said, I'll come on Sunday. So I said, okay. Sunday came around. He had said, I'll be there later around, I don't know. I said, well, try to come somewhere around 4 or 5 so we have time, to kind of put the um the desk and the chair together. I don't know how long that would take. And then, we could kind of just relax after that. And 4 or 5 came, but he didn't show up. And I'm like, okay. So then I think I waited till around 9 o'clock or so. And I said, are you coming or not? And he wrote back, he goes, oh, I'm sorry. I just woke up. And I know he did sometimes go to sleep, fall asleep in the evening, and then he would wake up and then stay up for a couple hours. Um, but I kind of felt it was weird because he knew he was supposed to be there around 4 or 5, but now all of a sudden he fell asleep. So I said, something's going on here. And he said, I think he still said, I'm going to still try to come. I'll call you. Or, he said, I'll call you in a little while. And he never called. So I said, okay. Um, all this to say to you guys, I'm sure you guys have gone through heartbreaks before. And the thing is that I had kind of grown this attachment for him. And he's really the only person I had, at this point. And that just like really hurt to my heart that he was so dependable before, like I could always count on him. And then all of a sudden, that just all went away. But just me all saying this to let you guys know, just checking my time, that as I said before, there's going to be people who come into your life for a season, for a reason, whatever it may be. Just like Susan was in my life for those 2, 3 months. And then it was time for, she had kept her soul contract with me, right? Um, and now he had kept his soul contract with me, and it was time for that to end because my thinking had started to go because he's like, well, now you can stay in Brooklyn and stuff, stay in New York. And I knew Spirit had told me, you're going to go to, New Hampshire, Maine, and that's where your destiny is, your destination. And I'm like, and then I start to question, like, am I supposed to stay in New York? Am I still supposed to go? If anyone interferes with your path, they're going to be taken off of your path. Okay. And there's different ways for that to happen. I kind of feel like it was the influence of a third party, if you know what I'm saying. And even though I couldn't see myself with him long term because he wasn't stable. Um, as I told you, he was living with a roommate, and you know, even at his age, um, even though he was a bit younger than, not a bit, but he was younger than me. Um, he was at the point of his life where he should have been doing more. And he made statements such as his mother, he was from the island, so he said his mother was going to be coming up in September, I believe, or October, something like that. He says, I want to make sure I spend a lot of time with her and, I take her out to dinner. And these are kind of things that, I had been saying to him, let's go do this. Let's go, in New York, there's so many things to do. And every time I would say, let's go to this festival or parade or whatever it may be, he would always find some kind of excuse. So I was kind of at the point where like what's going on? So I feel like there was someone else in the background or someone entered um, around that time, and the universe will use other people at the right time to come in and possibly take that person out of our life. That's why, like, too, like my ex best friend, when she was going through her divorce, and I had already started to kind of understand more things about spirituality and things. And I kind of said to her, I said, yeah, I understand that you've been with him for so long, your husband. I think it had been 30 years or so. I get it. And a lot of times it's hard when you're a very spiritual person to try to help others who have not awakened to understand different things spiritually. And I said that, trying to talk, her language as far as using God. God brings people into our life for a certain time, and then that person will leave, so possibly someone else could come into our life. She's not going to understand what soul contracts are, and that your path is already made for you. And possibly when you wrote your contract um, before you came here, it was written in there with her husband, I should say, with her husband. She had that contract. We're going to be together for 30 years. But after 30 years, our marriage is going to end. And it gives you a chance to go on and remarry someone else. And it also gives me a chance to have a soul contract with a different person, too. So a lot of times, as hurtful as divorces are, I think if you're spiritual and you really understand what I'm saying to you, you understand why people come into your life for only a certain time. Okay. And his kind of leaving me at that point hurt my heart. If you know anything about tarot, it was a big three of swords because there was that mental aspect with the sword energy, but also that heart, the piercing of the heart that I can't believe after everything we've been through together, um, that this is ending. Um, so I was really kind of upset over the next 2 weeks, I would say. And but then one day, it was so weird. One day, I was walking to the laundromat. So every Saturday or Sunday, I think I used to get up and I had just one big bag of laundry, and it was a couple blocks down, and I would walk to the laundromat. And this one day, I tripped and I fell smack onto the sidewalk. And I'm like, what the heck? Like that's never happened. I'm not, I shouldn't say never, but like I haven't fallen in years. And it was kind of like this wake up thing of saying, like shaking me to say, like, Marilyn, don't you understand that there is this releasing now going on? Um, that this person has exited your life and you're now able to go to your destiny, go towards your destiny. And I'm like, oh yeah, I can go to New Hampshire, Maine now. Here it's coming out. I was like, oh my goodness, like this is my break. Like this is what I'm supposed to do. This person was supposed to leave my life at this time, as even though it was so emotionally hard for me to get over that. But now I can go towards my destiny, what Spirit told me to go do back in 2017. So from that point on, all I could think about is I'm going to New Hampshire, Maine. I'm going to New Hampshire, Maine. I know I had to go to the border. I didn't know exactly where Spirit was sending me. But now my focus was to get to that border. I knew now it was around our very beginning of October at this point, middle of October somewhere. I said, I haven't been to like Maine, New Hampshire in 30 years. Yeah, like 30 years. I hadn't been up there. And I know nothing about the area or anything. So I came up with kind of saying, you know what? I'm gonna save up enough money to take a weekend trip up there for my birthday weekend, which is the beginning of December, beginning of December, and just go see what am I getting myself into, when I go up there. So that was my determination now, like full focus on getting to that destiny, getting to that destination. And that was mid-October. Um, and I wanted to leave the last weekend in November to go up there. And I will go from here in the next video. But thank you so much for being here. Thank you for all the support. I really appreciate you guys. And I'm here to tell my story so that it will help you guys and go through your own ascension journey. And just understanding that my journey is going to be nothing like your journey, but there may be some comparisons as you're going along and kind of say, yeah, Marilyn, I think said that she kind of went through something like that. So, there's going to be the mental challenges and there's going to be the emotional challenges, as well as the spiritual and as well as the physical. Okay. Gonna leave it there and I'll see you in the next one.